Hi guys, welcome back to the Squad 4 podcast. I'm Sancho.
I'm Anton.
And I'm Eli.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about being fit and staying healthy. So for you guys, what do you think being healthy means?
Okay, I'll go first. I think because you hear a lot of people who can do s- like I don't know, 10 pull-ups, right, or 25 pull-ups, and they have a really good work ethic and good workout. They're like bench pressing what like 250, deadlifting like 400 pounds, and so. But then when they get home, they're on like 5 cups of sugar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think being healthy is one, being in good shape, so you have to have a good obviously a diet and workout routine or workout, right? Because you have to have a balance of two. For me, that's how I consider you to be healthy, if you have a good balance of two. And yeah, and if you, obviously there's a mental side of it, but we'll save that for later. So
Yeah.
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 Go ahead.
Okay. I think being healthy is when you're constantly working on yourself. And it doesn't mean to be like to carry heavy stuff, but more on making sure all your joints still work, all your muscles still work. And just making sure that you still can do things and uh you give your body enough nutrients to still function every day.
Yeah. Well,
Yes, sir.
I guess for me it's quite simple. For me, for me, being healthy is being free from like having no illnesses or like injuries, physically, mentally, and yeah.
Mm. How would you measure being, well, physically ill? I mean, is there a point where, because sometimes people can be like they can't really be athletic, but they can still be healthy in the sense that they still eat healthy, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, they can still function properly. So do you know where that point is where it's not healthy?
Well, I guess for me, not being healthy is like no longer taking care of yourself, you know.
Mm,
So like, for example, if you're under medications and you don't take it on when we don't take the medications when you're supposed to, then I don't think that's being healthy. And when you eat too much of anything, I think that's not being healthy anymore.
yeah, I think the mental part of the disciplining yourself is a really big factor into it. Because even if you do miss once, if you do tell yourself that okay, I'll just do it again tomorrow, and you follow through with that, then I think that's already a sign that you have a system for yourself, as opposed to not doing something and then continues not doing it. I'd say that's unhealthy for yourself, especially if it's something that benefits your body.
Yeah, I see that. Um, yeah, to my knowledge, I don't think there's like a standard, right?
Mm,
If, well, obviously, if you're like super um unhealthy, right? You'll know, but there's really no like for me at least, there's no standard, like official standard to see if you're in good shape. Like
mm.
for example, you can run a mile, right? With like no problem whatsoever. You're not so tired or stuff like that, right? But yeah, I'd actually agree with a lot of what you guys are saying with healthy, and as long as you're taking, care of your body and you're not over, I guess, consuming one thing that should be bad is, I guess, I'd consider also healthy, similar, yeah.
Mm. And in terms of like a standard, I think another thing to talk about is like body appreciation, or like to, I don't know if it's self love, I guess, but it's a sense na it is pretty controversial, but then the part na you call this acceptance of yourself. And I mean like in terms of scars and stuff, and I don't mean like the fat in oneself, because I mean that in the sense na uh accept the things that you can't change, or be happy with that. But then if when it comes to things like, let's say you have too much fat in yourself to the point where it's getting dangerous for your health, that's something that you can change, you can work on, that you can discipline yourself. And I think that leads to appreciating your body more. And that leads to your own standard of what
Yeah.
being healthy is.
Yeah, I guess it's different for everybody. You know,
Mm.
it's yeah, it's one of those things that's it depends on you, like what Sancho said. Like what do you want to be, or like where do you want to be? I guess physically and mentally.
Yep, 100% agree. Okay, so let's say someone wants to uh better themselves in terms of, I guess, function. They wanna get stronger, they wanna run farther, they want to have better endurance. Well, what are things that, to your knowledge, you'd recommend that they do to get to
Mm.
where they want to be?
Well, obviously there's the training part or the physical exertion. But I think as you're doing that, you also have to train your mind, or even like train yourself via the smaller stuff. You could try, let it be like making a schedule for yourself to do to drink water every time of the day, because in a way that helps you in your training. It helps you think clear, or it helps you um, understand why you're doing it. So I think before you start setting your goals high, start off small with things you do every day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense. And I guess also like you can start by like stop making excuses, or stop making
Mm.
excuses, because for example, like some people when they run, they're like, oh no, they want to run, right? But then they're like, oh no, like I don't have a treadmill, or like you can run outside, you can go
Yeah.
outside and do all of that. Or sometimes when people are like, sometimes when people want to work out, but then they're like, oh, I don't have equipment or anything like that. But there's workouts that you can do wherein you don't need any equipment, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Mm.
and having
So
that
yeah,
mindset, yeah.
exactly. The mindset's a really big part of it. And one part's also knowing when not to do too much. Because in my experience, um, body dysmorphia is a pretty big uh, part in why people end up not being healthy, doing all these things. Because sometimes people diet way too much because they aren't satisfied with how they look, and sometimes they forget that it's not always about the physical output, but rather like how it actually affects your body, how it affects how you move your arm, your legs. So I think that um, actually doing it, you have to stick to your original goal, or you have to remember why you're doing these workouts in the first place. Is it for aesthetics, or is it for you so that you can keep living on a healthy life?
Wait, so I wanted so Sancho, like what exactly is body uh
Dysmorphia. Oh,
yeah,
it's
body
the
dysmorphia, sorry.
body dysmorphia is it's a pretty big problem where when people are like working out and they look at the mirror, they only see like someone who's thin or someone who's really small, because in their case they've looked at themselves their whole journey, so they can't really see big differences. But in reality, they have made progress, but they just can't see it. And sometimes people push it to a point where they end up like dieting too much, where they don't eat anything to look the way they think is nice, but in reality, it's already pushing it too far.
Yeah, so like if you go online and um YouTube, you can go to uh where else? TikTok. Yeah, TikTok. Um online even read about it. You'll hear people talk about their how they, you know, like what Sancho mentioned about dysphoria. And you can read up on their experiences, yeah. I just thought I'd bring it up just in case people are more interested in learning about that.
Yeah. And I wanted to also mention that everything has to be done with balance, because like when you diet and when you diet too much or like you don't eat at all, it's more dangerous than helpful to your body or to your
Mm.
health. Then yeah. So I suggest balance everything talaga.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think it's also a good balance uh to balance out the things you eat, especially like junk food. Because in my experience, like I couldn't immediately take that out of my life. So what I did was I gradually, slowly took it out, and now I barely eat it. But I know that I I I like it a lot, and that's what usually keeps me going. So I know that my limits for junk food can depend on like how much I push myself.
Amen.
Yeah. Um so when I was younger, I ate a lot of chocolate. Until now I still love chocolate, but I lessened it a bit now. But when I was younger, I used to eat I loved chicken, I loved lechon, I loved adobo. This fat. It has so much fat in it. And something that I've realized is now when I eat fat, my head hurts. Like I start to have a headache and sometimes I get really dizzy from eating it.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think uh it's a matter of knowing like who you are, because in YouTube you'd see all these videos na how to balance your diet. But I think they have it's not said that you have your own system. Sometimes your metabolism is higher than others. Sometimes you could eat more and there won't be as much
Yeah.
effects. But then sometimes also your only you will know how much you could take in.
Um so guys, our title, or I guess the topic of our podcast episode today is how to stay fit and live healthy, right? So
Mm.
is there a difference from staying fit or like and staying fit and living healthy, or are fit and healthy pretty much the same thing, or like what's the difference if there is a difference?
Well, they are definitely connected. I'm not so sure if they're the exact same thing, but I know that one needs to exist with the other. Like to be fit, you have to have a healthy diet, and to be healthy, you have to be fit too. So in a way, I think it's the same thing. But then there are like different ways of describing it. Sometimes being fit can mean to be athletic, or to be like over the top insane with your physical abilities.
Yep.
To be healthy can still mean being, I mean, it can still mean not having much muscle, but you can still function. You're still flexible enough to move. You don't have a problem getting out of bed in the morning. But yeah, no way they are both connected.
I don't really have, well, yeah, because if you're gonna ask me, I have the same idea as what Sancho just said. But a follow-up question, right? One follow-up question is, maybe people out there don't know like what workouts to do. Would you recommend any like specific small things for them to do,
Mm. Well,
for their
uh,
and sorry, wait. Follow up also, maybe um workouts for people either without weights or they have weights or they don't have that much space. So for like keep it versatile, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So for workouts, a good way to start with the weight is usually with kettlebells because that's usually used for full body exercises. And if you don't have weights in your house, that's still okay. You could do calisthenics, you could do yoga, you could stretch. But then just to make sure you keep your body moving and functional.
Yeah. Something that I've been starting to do this year was boxing. So we have gloves and we have a punching bag and we have a pull-up bar and we have ropes, jumping ropes,
Yeah.
and I've been doing a lot of that, just punching and punching. If you don't have a punching bag, you can simply like do shadow boxing, punch the
Mm.
air, just go around, just keep your body moving. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. So intended purpose. I guess it also like it depends on what your job is or if you're a student, like if you're in school from a certain amount of time or you have like little time to work out, there's probably exercises that you can do at least to stay kind of fit and healthy. For example, if you don't have a lot of space, you can do push-ups, you can do planks, you can do burpees, all types of that. Um, there's also the weight aspect. You can do your deadlifts. I haven't done actually bench press, which I probably should at some point in life.
Mm.
But yeah, usually for me, I do major things, at least the things that yeah, is deadlift, and kettlebell swings. Actually, I started doing that. It's
Mm.
pretty fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just find out how much time you have and what you do, and try to, I guess, revolve around that and try to get a workout in. You can, yeah.
Mm. It's nice then to have like something that motivates you to work. Sometimes it can be with working with other people. Sometimes it can be by looking at yourself in the mirror after you're done. Or it depends on you talaga.
Yeah. Like before, I joined the fun run. So it was a fundraiser and I
Mm.
joined it and it was 5 kilometers. And by the second kilometer, I was already so I was struggling. And what kept me going was the people running with me by my side. We they were cheering me on, we were cheering each other on, and at the end of it I got to finish it and it felt awesome. So yeah, surround yourself with people who motivate you and inspire you to be better.
Yeah. Although there's also a line you have to draw when you like aspire to be like someone, because you have to acknowledge that your bodies are not the same and that
Yeah.
your journeys are totally different. You don't need to be better than them. They don't need to be better than you. It's more like a sense where you just try to be the best version of yourself, not try to be the best of someone else, because then it wouldn't be for you. Because the whole point of staying fit is to be uh just to be healthy for your own self, for your own life, not to impress anyone else, not to benefit anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I noticed is that in all those online programs, they always give those videos in like 5 weeks to get like 6 pack abs. And a lot of people click it, but I don't think a lot of them know that usually like what comes fast goes fast. And it's better if it's built on for long periods of time because that way there's no shortcut to it. and you really have to work hard for it.
Yeah, like go in your own pace, Uh so like I would say like if you do sign up or join these workout programs and you do them, but then you don't if you aren't satisfied with your progress by the end of it, don't feel bad or don't give up. Rather use that rather use that as a motivation to keep on going.
Yeah, and like we said, exercise is usually a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. So nothing's gonna come fast. So it's not like you do push-ups today, you do burpees, you do pull-ups, and then tomorrow you'll have six-pack abs. It's usually not like that. Just be patient with yourself and never give up.
Mm. It's also a nice saying that working out isn't a punishment for yourself, rather a celebration for what your body can do.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be a way of telling yourself that you aren't happy with yourself or to push it to be way beyond its limits. Rather, to slowly give it a little nudge towards a place where you think it's better.
Mindset.
Yeah. Mindset.
All right, and I guess that's a pretty good place to end it in today's episode. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Again, I'm your host. We're your hosts. I'm Eli.
I'm Anton.
I'm Sancho.
Yep. And thank you for tuning in to the Squad 4 podcast. We will see you guys again next episode.
Bye.
Bye.